All right, so this is going to be a quick review of what we've talked about in our lesson. This is going to go by pretty quickly, so if we haven't already talked about this in our lesson, don't worry if you're lost. You still might be able to learn the key signatures this way, but it will go by a little bit fast. So we're going to start with the order of sharps. I have the order of sharps written out here on the board already. We have fat cats go down alleys eating butter. I've underlined the sharps themselves, so F, C, G, D, A, E, B. And I have the order of flats written on the board here already as well. So the order of flats is actually just the order of sharps backwards. And to remember this though, without thinking of that backwards, I just think of the first four spelled bead and whatever you want to use to remember what the last three are. All right, so I would like to start with sharps today. So the method that I use is that we use the half step away or the leading tone, so the seventh of the scale. So do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, that note before you get back to do. We try to find that note first. So step one is, if we say we're in the key of D major, we're going to go down a half a step to find that seventh. And we're going to find that note in the order of sharp. So the seventh of D major is C sharp, or half a step down from D is C sharp. So we have F and C in that scale. So number one is go down a half a step. And I'm going to put in parentheses, that is the seventh note of a scale. And then the second step is, it's everything in front of that in the order of sharp. So everything in front of the note you found. Okay, so let's use another scale. So E major, we go down a half a step from E, which would be D sharp. So that's step one, go down that half step, and then it's everything in front of that. So F, C, G, D. And if we want to work backwards, so say we know we have 5 sharps. So we have F, C, G, D, A. Instead of going down a half a step, and because we're trying to find the key now in the scale that we're going to play, so instead of that, we're going to go up a half step. So up a half a step from A sharp is B major. All right, so now I want to jump to flats. So how would we know if a scale has a flat, or if we're going to use the flats or the sharps method? If it has flat in the name, then we're going to use this method here. The only exception to that one is F, and I'm going to get into that briefly at the end of this video when we go over circle of fifths, why it is not F flat but F natural major has B flat in the key signature. So this one's even easier than the sharps. All we have to do, so say we're in B flat major, so we know we're using the flats, we're just going to add the next one in this order of flats. If we have A flat major, all we're going to do is add the next one in this order of flats. The same goes for this one when we work backwards. We're going to work backwards using this method. So if I know I have 5 flats and I want to know what scale to play, I'm going to go this direction instead. And let's do another example. So if I have 6 flats, then we're going to be in G flat major. I also want you to think about C sharp major and C flat major. So rather than using this, because this method might be a little slower than just thinking about it this way, a scale is made up of a whole, half step. So we want to think about C major has 0 sharps and flats. So if we start on C sharp or if we start on C flat, we're starting a half a step away from where we were before. So everything either has to be sharp. So if we're in C sharp major, we have to continue that whole step to the second note would be C sharp to D sharp, the whole step to the next note, which would be E sharp. So I want you to think about it that way. It'd be a little bit faster. You can still use this method, but it's easy enough to use that. So C flat, you just add flats to everything in the scale as well. So now I want to talk about the circle of fifths. I really like the viola and the cello because it's got the C string, which is really helpful. So we all know that C has 0 sharps and flats. C major has 0 sharps and flats. And if we go up a fifth to our next string, then which is G, the G string, we're gonna add 1 sharp. If you go up to the next string, which is the D string, we're gonna add another sharp. So when I say fifths though, when I say the circle of fifths, I do mean an interval of fifths. So intervals means the spacing between notes. So a C to a G is a fifth. So we have C to C is 1, C to D is 2, C to E is 3, C to F is 4, and C to 5 is G. So that's what I'm talking about when I say fifths, so we don't get lost there. And so I think we left off this with C is 0 sharps and flats, G has 1 sharp, D has 2 sharps, A would then have 3. And this would go on, if you have to think about, like, if we had a fifth string, what would it be? It'd probably be the string that a violin has that we don't have, which is the E string. So the next string up would be E major, would have 4 sharps. This works too going down if we're in, going down with flats. So, and this, yeah, so if we're going down with flats, we're going to add a flat. So let's think about the C on the A string. Our second finger, it would be, on cello, it would be second finger. On viola, it would be low 2, so still second finger. And we're going to go down for the flat, so down a fifth for the flat. So C major is 0 sharps and flats. We go down a fifth to F, which would be 1 flat. F natural would be 1 flat. And then we go down another fifth to B flat, and that is 2 flats. We go down another fifth. We get E flat, which would be 3. So this continues on and on and on, and that's why, so this is F natural over here. We could keep this cycle going because this is all flats, right? So this is natural, F natural, B flat, E flat, A flat. This is all flats. If we were to keep going with this circle of fifths, then it becomes V double flat.